This movie started in Bristol City in England, where an intelligent young boy of 14 years called Luke was in class sitting for a test. It didn't take him half of the allotted time for the test before he was done. After the test, some of his classmates approached him to ask him some questions pertaining the test. One of them was Julie. She used to be the most intelligent student before Luke showed up. She went close to him, sat down and asked him to help her solve an equation that came out in the just concluded test, which he did, but Julie had picked the wrong answer. Julie became pissed off and left the other students angrily. Luke and his parents were in a restaurant having a leisure time when his dad asked him what he would like to explore when he come of age. I have this feeling in me that there is a lot more out there that I still need to know. There is this inner feeling that I haven't yet discovered who I am and what I am capable of doing. I want to explore my potentials, my natural gifts and many more, Luke said while focusing on the pizza pan on the table. He was still saying all of these when the pan started shaking and with a blink of an eye it fell off the table to the floor. A young lady called Bella had been watching all of this and sensed that Luke wasn't an ordinary boy. She worked for an organization called the Institute. They go about searching for kids with supernatural talent, after which they will secretly kidnap them and take them to a faraway building where their powers will be harnessed. Luke was sleeping in his bed in his room one night when Bella and her snatch team broke into their home. They sneaked into Luke's room and as Luke was about to wake up, she sprayed an anesthesia which knocked him off. Luke was having a nightmare when he suddenly woke up. He stood up from the bed only to notice that he wasn't in his room. He was in a different room. He went to the window and pulled the curtains apart and to his surprise, the environment was totally different and secluded. He rushed out of his room in attempt to know where this place was, but as he stepped out looking around for clues, he met Felicia. Felicia had been snatched the same way Luke was snatched. "Welcome to the Institute," she said. "What is this place? Why am I here? Who owns these place?" Luke went on asking lots of questions. Felicia calmly explained everything to him. She told him that he was in a place called the Institute. Here they harness our supernatural talent and according to them, they wants to use it to save the world. We can't go back home or communicate with the world out there, not even our parents. Until they are done with why they brought us here, Felicia said. Back in the boss's office. There was Miss 6P and two other men by the names Dr. Trevor and Mr. Sharksworth. Mr. Sharksworth was the chief security officer while Dr. Trevor was the medical director in charge of running tests and harnessing the powers of the snatched kids. Miss 6P on the other hand, was the owner of the place. The three of them had been watching Felicia and Luke's conversation through a CCTV camera. "Go get the new boy, I think he is ready to meet with me," Miss 6P ordered the chief security officer. Felicia went on to brief him on what to expect, how they are give some shots of injects and are forced to get a metallic ear piercing. She told him what they are allowed to do and what they aren't allowed to do. They were still discussing when Mr. Sharksworth showed up. He asked Luke to go change and follow him to Miss 6P's office. Upon getting to the office, Miss 6P offered him a drink and briefed him on the rules and regulations guiding the institute. "You will have to go through some series of tests and injections here and there which you must comply with. Some might be unpleasant, but that's why we have everything in place. Your mental, emotional and psychological health will be accessed from time to time. Don't worry about your parents, they are fine and you will meet with them after your stay here, just that we will erase all your memory before taking you back to them," she said smiling. Back in Bristol City at the airport, there happened to be some mix-up. They had booked lots of persons which the plane couldn't accommodate. They offer anyone who was willing to reschedule or cancel his or her flight, a refund and an extra $6,000. Michael, an ex-military personnel, seized the opportunity and asked that his flight be cancelled. He left the airport, booked a cab and went back to his home. Upon getting home, he saw a vacancy stating that they needed a night knocker. He liked the idea and decided to apply for the job. He went for the interview where he met Officer Jackson. Jackson interviewed him, asked him several questions and after which offered him the job. He met with some of his colleagues and tried bonding with them. They told him what the job entailed and the number of buildings and offices he is expected to cover per night. While on duty, after checking some buildings, Officer Michael met an old lady who stayed by the roadside. He had some conversations with her, but he was surprised that the lady knew a lot of things about him, like the name his mom do call him and some events that happened while he was growing up. The lady advised him to be careful, that there is a lot going on in this world that he couldn't think of. Back at the institute, Bella was on her way home when Mr. Sharksworth entered the elevator. He tried engaging Bella into doing his bidding, but Bella wasn't interested. Mr. Sharksworth had always wanted Miss 6P's position. He was doing everything possible to prove to the board that he is more valuable and efficient to hold the position of CEO. Soon, it was time for Luke to have his metallic piercing. He was escorted to the room by a middle-aged woman called Mrs. Saffron. Getting to the room, she knocked and a young-looking man opened the door. He greeted her and ushered Luke in. He briefed Luke on what he wants to do and how the procedure was going to be done, but Luke was proving stubborn, stating that he doesn't want any piercing on his body. This got Mr. Phillip really angry. He punched Luke by the jaw, then ordered him to sit on the chair for his piercing, which Luke obeyed. He wore his gloves, then brought out the machine and pierced Luke's ear, leaving a metallic earring on it. Outside the institute, Bella was chilling with her girlfriend in a bar. Her girlfriend's name was Stella. Stella was an undercover reporter who works for Mr. Sharksworth. They met at an event, but unknown to Bella, that Stella works for Mr. Sharksworth. They discussed about how their day went and things they did for fun. Felicia came to Luke's room. She knocked on the door inviting him to come for dinner and to also meet the other snatched kids. On their way, Luke asked Felicia what superpowers she had. The Institute is only after 2 superpowers, which are telepathy and telekinesis. I have telepathy and I know you have telekinesis, Felicia said. Luke didn't believe it. He asked Felicia to tell him his grandma's name. Felicia asked him to think about his grandma and leave the rest to her. Luke did as she said, and to his surprise she mentioned his grandma's name to be Rebecca, which was correct. Luke was still trying to control his excitement when Felicia kissed him. Getting to the dining room, Luke met the other snatched kid. They introduced themselves to him and what their superpowers were. One amongst them was Iris. She's been there for some days and was the oldest. They talked about how it felt having one's memory erased, which Nikki, the oldest guy amongst them, was strongly against. After having a fun-filled time with her girlfriend, Bella decided to get back to work. There was a kid that was assigned to her to snatch and bring to the Institute. She was working on it when Stella brought out a gun and shot her on the head. Seeing that Bella was dead, she called Mr. Sharksworth to inform him that his order has been carried out. Iris' stay at the Institute was over and it was time for her to go back home. A celebration was held for her sake. Cake was baked and the staffs were happy, unlike the kids, including Iris. They knew what was coming after the celebration. The Institute will erase all of Iris' memory before sending her home to her parents. Soon it was time for Luke to undergo his first test. He was taken to Dr. Trevor's office where Mr. Phillip was also present. Mr. Phillip gave him a shot of injection and placed him on electroencephalogram machine in order for Dr. Trevor to read the electric current in his brains. A metallic box was placed before Luke. He was asked to lift the box using his telekinesis power. He struggled for a while, fixing his gaze on the box, then finally and gradually lifted the box up. Then he let it drop almost immediately while pushing a chair towards Dr. Trevor. After the test was over, Luke threw up some of the medications given to him. Dr. Trevor left the room instructing Philip to clean him up. After leaving the room, Luke met Mrs. Saffron, who encouraged him and gave him an energy booster to replenish his lost energy. That same day in the evening, Luke met with Nikki at the playground. The both of them were planning on how to get out of the Institute because none of them wants their memory erased. They wanted to expose the secret and illegal acts going on in the Institute, but neither Luke nor Nikki had the supernatural powers to get them out of this place. They needed someone with strong telepathy to help them break free from the Institute. Back at Bristol, Officer Michael was narrating what he experienced last night during his shift to one of his colleagues. He told her how he met an old lady who told him of his past and even called him by the name only his mum do call him. That's Mrs. Stanford. She is said to have telepathic powers. People find it strange and that's why most persons avoided her. I will advise you to do the same for your mental health. Officer Joyce responded. Luke, Nikki and Felicia was in the playroom when Nikki brought up the idea of escaping from the Institute. He told Nikki that they only needed someone who has strong telepathic powers, and obviously she is the only one that has such amongst them after Iris, whose memory has been erased and sent home. Look, I agree that we need to get out of this place, but I'm not just the right person. My telepathic powers aren't as strong as you see it. Felicia said. Wow, but you can at least work on your powers, right? Felicia, look, we all need you to get out of this mess. Luke said, trying to convince Felicia, who was still adamant before George came to join them. George had always opposed the idea of breaking free from the Institute. He was scared of being caught, so they decided to leave him out on their plans. Dr. Trevor was heading home after the day's work when he met Mr. Sharksworth. They exchanged greetings before Mr. Sharksworth brought up a deal. He tried convincing Dr. Trevor to team up with him so he can usurp the position of CEO from Miss 6P. Look Trevor, you and I know that Miss 6P is too weak and fragile to hold this position. All I'm just doing is offering a means to make more money. Trevor, all you need to do is get a kid with strong telepathic superpower, harness it and then leave the rest to me. There is an institute in Birmingham who needs a kid like that, and if we can offer them one, we won't just be making more money, we will also be proving how weak Miss 6P is to the board. Think about it, Mr. Sharksworth said, walking away from Dr. Trevor. But unknown to them, Miss 6P had seen and overheard their conversations from her room upstairs. She silently watched them before shutting her curtains. Luke was in his room trying to get a night rest when he heard a child's cry outside his room. He rushed out only to see a small boy crying at the corridor. He tried consoling him before the other kids also came out of their room to see what was going on. Upon seeing the boy's face, Felicia sensed something very strong in her. Nikki helped the child up, then asked George to take him to his room. After George had left with the child, Felicia told Luke and Nikki that the child has a strong telepathic power, and from the look of things she thinks they have gotten what they are looking for. The key to their escape from the Institute.